Okay, so I have been telling you guys for quite a while I would do a mail merge, and I am so sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of make this information a little bit bigger. Usually a size 11 or 12 is good, but uh, whatever works for you is fine. And my Excel document that I'm showing you right now is a little bit off on formatting. So I'm just trying to make sure that you guys can see all the information. So I pulled an example of possibly employers that I want to apply with. And you'll notice that I'm here in Excel and I'm going to merge from Excel to Word. And I'm going to show you the best way that I believe it's done. So first off, I have the company name, the last name of the person I'm trying to contact, and the first name, the address of the company, the city, state, and zip. And it says client telephone number. That's not right. So let me just fix that real quick. And email. Now, the telephone and email is not necessary, but it was included in this database, so I thought I would go ahead and keep it. I'm just going to hit that save button real quick to make sure that my changes were saved. And what I did is I grabbed a template from Microsoft Word just to make this look a little bit nicer. And I filled it out with some fake information. And then what I did is I copy and pasted what I wanted in a cover letter. So essentially what I'm going to do is in this area here, I'm going to add who I'm writing to. After dear, I will write the person's name. And then in a few sentences, I also need to replace some information. So for instance, I would like this opportunity to use qualities in whatever the position is, which we didn't put a position, but we'll just leave it as administrative assistants our assistant. You'll see I have a company name here, so I need to replace that. And I also have the company's name here. I need to replace that. I have another paragraph talking about all these things that are wonderful about myself. And then I also again have the company name here. And then I just kind of refer back to my resume and that I've enclosed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the company name, the person that I'm, contacting, the address, city, state, zip, and then the person that I'm writing to. And then I have a couple of places that I need to actually make sure that I put the company name in. I'm going to close my Excel document only because mail merge can be a little tricky sometimes. And I'm just going to make sure that it's closed. I know where it's saved, which is fantastic. And I'll just zoom in just a little bit more here. You guys don't need to necessarily see my the top of my letter. It's more important that you see where I put the mail merge. So you'll notice that there's going to be different ways to do mail merge. And I've struggled whenever I used instructions. So I'm going to show you how I do it and what works best for me. First off, I'm going to put my insertion point right up here at the top, just so I know where it's at. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to mailings. And I'm going to go right here where it says start mail merge. And you'll notice I'm going to skip over all of that and I'm just going to do this step-by-step mail merge wizard. I really like the wizard. I think it works out very well. I'm just going to move the dialog box over there. And it tells me, what kind of document are you working on? And I'm going to work on a letter. So my intention is to write a letter to every single one of the people that's on that database that I first showed you in Excel. I don't know how many there were. There might have been like 20. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on next where it says starting document. And it's going to ask you, what do you want to do? My suggestion is to always have your document open and just use the current document feature. I know you can start from a template or an existing document, but for me, it's always seemed to be better when I use the current document. And I'm not going to stray away from the way that I do this only because, like I said, mail merge can get tricky. And then it wants to know what am I going to mail it with, and it wants to know my recipients. I'm going to use an existing list. So that's the list that I had in Excel. And all I'm simply going to do is click on Browse, and I'm going to navigate to the window that or the place where my document is saved. And you'll see it's right here. It says Employer Contacts. So I'm just going to double click that. And it looks like I actually have two different tabs on there. I'm only going to use this first one that says Employer Contacts. And I pulled this from the internet, so that must be why there's a second one. Normally you wouldn't see a second one. I'm going to say okay. And then what it's going to do is it's going to show me all this information. And it just kind of has a list here of everyone and all their information that I showed you in the very beginning. Now, there's some other stuff you can do here where you can find duplicates or filter out or sort. I really don't do anything with this area. As a matter of fact, there's this one last one where there's nothing there, and I'm a little nervous not checking that or unchecking that, but I'm going to go ahead and do that just to kind of, make sure that I don't have an empty file. I'm going to press on OK. And then it doesn't tell me to do anything else here. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here to step number 3, which is write your letter. Now on this part of it, again, I'm just going to do the way that I normally do it. It makes it a lot easier for me when I do this. So now it's telling me that I'm going to write my letter if I haven't already done so. And then to add my recipient information to your letter, we're going to click on the location in the document and then click one of the items below. So this is where I already put my insertion point right here because that's where I want to start. I'm going to go ahead and click on address block. That's not really what I want. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out that. I'm going to go ahead and say more items. And the reason why I'm going to say more items is because this is going to give me a list of everything that was in that spreadsheet. You'll even see F10 and F11. Those shouldn't be there, but because I pulled this database from the internet, there was probably some kind of entry, even if it was an enter that was made into those two things. So I just really want to use all the top part. I don't even want to use telephone and email unless you're emailing to all these people, but that gets a little tricky as well. So the first thing is company name. So I'm going to put insert company name. And what you're going to see here is a field that comes up and it says company name and it has these brackets around it. You don't do anything with that. All I'm simply going to do, whoops, I accidentally hit enter twice. So I have to actually close and I need to get rid of that one I accidentally put in there. And then I have to press enter. And then I'm going to go to more items and I'm going to say first name and I'm going to enter and I'm going to close and I'm going to hit the space bar because if I don't put a space in here, the names will actually run together. I'll click last name and press enter. Now I am in a template and I'm a little concerned. I pressed enter and I seen this little space come up. So whoops, and I'm going to close. So for this next line, instead of me pressing enter, I'm just going to place my insertion point here. It is only because there's this template here. There's it gets a little bit weird sometimes in templates. So let me just kind of cut this real quick. And I'm just going to go back up and you'll see that there's a line that, kind of came in there. And then I'm just going to see if it'll allow me to double click underneath and then add that back in there. So don't worry too much about that. There is a little bit of a spacing issue here, it looks like, but I'll fix that when I'm done. I'm going to go back to more items and I'm going to put address and you have to hit close. Normally you just press enter, but I'm moving my insertion point That way I don't have any spacing issues. And just so you know, what's happening is that because I used a template, usually they use tables in the background. Um, and so what happens is this is all a table, and probably so is this. Now on this line where it says city, I want you to notice that I put a comma here and I did put a space. And then I'm going to put state and I'm going to insert, close. I hit space bar again because I need to put spaces in between each one of these fields. And then I'm going to put zip and I'm going to insert there. I'm going to hit close because I need to come down. And this is where I am going to start taking some of this information and moving it in, but I'm going to use the same technique. So I am going to put Mr. or Mrs. here. Now, I wouldn't really recommend this if you're doing a cover letter. I would probably in my database have if it's Mr. or Mrs. And then put that as a field. But I forgot about that, so that's okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert. Here's my my merge field. And right here, I'm just going to simply put last name. And you'll notice there's a colon after that. And then I want to change where it says, and I left Ortega High School, so I wouldn't have to sit there here in search of where I'm going. I want to put the company's name here. So I'm just going to come in and put company name. And there's a period right after that, and I didn't put any kind of space. And I also want to put a company's name here, but I want to use that apostrophe S because I didn't put it in my field. So I'll go ahead and put company name and insert and close, and you'll notice there's an apostrophe S after that. So I'm telling them some qualities about myself, that I want to work as an administrative assistant at their company. I'm interested in whatever the field is. Now, you can also put this in there too. I'm just going to leave that just because it's just a word. But in my database, if they were different kind of fields, which I know they are, and I'm talking about a different kind of field, I'm talking about an employment field, then I should have done that in that database as well. So you can get as detailed as you want when it comes to a merge. I'm telling them I know Microsoft, and through a CTE course, I earned a certificate. And then I told them a few more things about myself and that I enclosed a resume. And then at Ortega High School, I want to go ahead and get rid of that because I want to go ahead and put the company name in again. Make sure you hit that space if you didn't put it before. And then I am a little assertive on this part. A lot of people don't do this on cover letters, so this is just kind of a cover letter trick. I'm telling them on August 13, I'll call to see if an interview can be arranged at a time that's convenient for them. A lot of people sit around and say, you know, can't wait to hear from you, and that doesn't usually really happen. And then I do notice that my resume has the accents here, but here it does not. So I'm just going to copy this one because the accents take a moment, and then capitalize the R. Because I'm saying there's an enclosed resume, I should have an enclosure down here or attachment, something like that that says that there's something that's enclosed in this. If you don't have your resume in there, then just go ahead and get rid of that line. Also, I can sign this if I wanted to do it digitally. There's a couple programs out there, but since I'm in Word, I'm just gonna kind of cheat. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here to shapes and I'm gonna do this squiggly line. Now, I sign a lot of things online, so it's not too difficult for me, but it has to all be one stroke. Okay. And then if you want to change the color of it, you can simply come up here and change the color. You can even change the weight of it. So if you want it to be a little thinner or a little thicker, you can. I'm not going to do any changes to this just because I feel like it works out pretty well and it fits in that space. Now, I have to put this here now because what's going to happen is I'm getting ready to preview my letter, and my letter needs to be done. There should not be anything on here that I need to change. If I need to change something, it needs to happen now. So I'm just going to come in here. I've got the company name. I've got the first name and last name with a space, the street address, the city, comma, state, zip. Everything else is my information. I'm saying Mr. or Mrs. because I'm not really sure, and I should have put that in my database. I have a colon, and then I have the company name with a period, a company name with apostrophe S. I've looked through everything else. I only have one other instance where I need to change something, and that's this company name. And then I just put in my signature if you want to do that. That's not necessary. So the next step I'm going to go to is I'm going to preview my letter. And this is going to allow me to take a look of what it's going to look like. So the very first entry on that database was American Association of University Professors. And then there's the name, the address, the city, state, and zip. And then as I scroll down, I will tell you there should be one more space here after the date, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I mean, I do have the room to do it, but I could go back if I want to. And actually, maybe I should just to show you. It says dear, and then whoever I'm writing to, you'll see the company name is here again. The company name is here again with that apostrophe S. And then again, the company name is going to be right here. So I'll go ahead and go to previous, write your letter, and I'll just take care of this address. So again, like I said, a lot of times, like you'll see, I can't bring this that date up. So I just needed to put a space there, to be quite honest. But that's because this, and you'll notice right here, as soon as you see that, this is all in a table. So I put the extra space like it's supposed to be. Everything looks about exactly the way I want it to. Well, not, it should be exact, not about. And then now I'm just going to go ahead and go back to next, which was preview my letter. And then that's where I'm again looking at the American Association of University Professors, and then just kind of taking a look at my format, making sure that my enclosure doesn't go down to a second page. And everything looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I want to complete the merge. Now, if you want to save anything at this point, this is where you would save. So I'm not going to save anything because right now, the only thing that I would save is the inserted fields. But some people like to save that part. I want to keep my original as my original, and I don't want all those merge fields to be there because I'll probably use a different database a second time around. So you'll notice that there's 28 recipients. Now remember, there might be one or two that were blank, but we're going to create 28 letters. If you need to find a recipient, you can do that. You can exclude a certain recipient if you need to. But my experience is go in with the database that is exactly what you need, and make changes before you get to this point. So I'm going to go ahead and click on next, which is complete the merge. You'll notice that nothing really happens. I can edit individual letters or I can print. So depending on what you want to do, normally from this stance, I would go ahead and print, but I don't have a printer set up, so that won't really make sense. But I do want to show you what this edit individual letters are. And you'll notice it said merge to new document. You probably didn't see that, but there's a little tiny balloon that popped up that said that. It wants to know which letters I want to merge, and I'm going to say all, and I'm going to say okay. Now, the reason why I would do this part is because now with the date and all the information, what I can do is I can save this document. Notice up here it says letters 1. Now this is where I want to save. I want to save as, and I'll put this on my desktop. And maybe I just want to put, you know, August 2nd contacts. Maybe these are all the contacts I just made today. Okay, you can get, of course, a little bit more specific if you want to. It will take a moment for it to save because we are in Word and we're saving 28 letters. So this document is pretty much your document of records now. You can print from this part as well, but this is the document that I definitely would tell you to save, because now it's telling me that on August 2nd, I contacted, you know, Pam Hardy with the Friends of Oregon, and I sent her a cover letter. I also contacted 1-800-Flowers, James Gardner. And then I contacted Elizabeth Reamley with 211 info. So you'll see this is all the letters, 24-hour fitness. I had contacted Joni. You'll see her name here. You see 24-hour fitness name is here, and then also down here. And then it's just kind of going on 7-Eleven, AAA, limousines, AARP. But you'll notice nothing else has changed, just those little areas that I put a field in. Definitely worth the time for the Mr. or Mrs. to be done right. There's no way that this Joni is a Mr. And you could come in here and you can change this, but that's just an extra step that you don't really need to do. Once I notice I start messing with the merge letters, I start to run into problems. So sometimes it's better just to go back to that database, fix it, and then remerge. It doesn't take but a few steps. And once you do it several times, it'll definitely get easier. So action for service, we have ADIS, ADIS, ADS, advanced medical. So you can see every single letter is here. And this is now my record, AFLAC, African American Health Coalition, AFT, Agricultural Corporation, Alaska Airlines. So all these different people have made this letter for. And again, I can go ahead and print from here if I wanted to. I could say file and print, and I could print these out. And this is exactly what they'll look like. And you'll even see down here, it says I have 19 of 28 pages. If I need to make any changes to my printer, this is where I would make them. You'll notice I don't have a printer on here, so it just says it wants to print into PDF. And if you wanted to, you could save these as a PDF as well. So, and then you can even go through and look at these, and you can see the different names and stuff that I've put in here. Because this is our print preview, and we're at like 23 records of 28, so towards the bottom. So these are all the different cover letters that I did, which makes it really, really nice. And then I can keep track of what's going on. Just in case you want to make this a PDF file because it saves less space, you know, and there's no way someone's going to go in there and change something. Again, because this is kind of your record. And if you're at work, if you do a letter like this, make sure that you don't use the date where it changes. That's been a problem for me in the past, because then, you know, my supervisor came and said, hey, Jamie, or, you know, when did we do this? And I opened up the letter and instantly the date changed to today's date. So definitely put the date in. But if you wanted to save this as a PDF file, maybe it would make it easier for you. All you would simply do is we would say that we want to save a copy. We can leave it with the same file name, and all you simply do is come right here, right where the file name is, and you say PDF, and you just say save. Word makes it very easy for us to do that. So it'll take just a second. And I don't think mine doesn't pop up because I don't do that. You'll notice this is my cover letter for MailMerge. This is the first letter that I started off with, and it's still in MailMerge. I'm going to close out of this, and I am not going to save the changes. And the reason why I'm not going to save those changes is because I do not want those to be there the next time I use that letter. And let me give you an example of, okay, so first off, here's my PDFs. And of course, they popped up on there the page, which is fine. So here's my PDFs, or my PDF with all my 28. You'll see 28 here. And as you scroll through, this is just a copy in a PDF. And if you had to send this, you know, via email, let's say we're not talking to employers, maybe we're at work, and you wrote a letter for your supervisor or whoever, and they wanted a copy of it, PDF is probably the way to go, because you can email it. It would be very small document. And then I wanted to show you that on my August 2nd contacts, on my copy letter from MailMerge, I don't need that. This is what I was talking about, why I didn't save the changes. because the next time I use this letter, I'm probably going to be writing to different people. So that's why I didn't save the changes to this. And then that way, when I come in next time, I would change the date and then I would come in and it's like a new document. And then the one other thing I wanted to show you was, I think this is the document I used, which was the employer contacts. This is where I might want to, and I can do this anywhere, but if I wanted to add something in here, I would just insert and say that I want, to put something in here. And maybe I want to put Mr. or Mrs. Okay. And I don't know, hopefully, all the names are going to be easy to understand. But like for Pam, she's going to be a Mrs. For James, he's going to be a Mr. Elizabeth will be a Miss. Joni will be a Miss. Let's make sure we type that right. Now, Justin, that's a little bit, so I might put Mr./Miss, just not knowing which one it is. I feel like that's a boy's name, but I'm not positive, and it's a P.O. box. You could always call the phone number. Oh, the email says Keith Jones. That might be a different supervisor though. Okay. And so Rick is easy. Joni again. Oh, we've got 2 Jonies in there for that. Okay, so that's interesting. Oh, so she must be running a some kind of employment agency. I didn't catch that. That's because I just used a database, that was on them. So I'm just kind of coming in through here. Evan, I am not really sure on that one. Oops, I put Miss and Miss. And it doesn't matter if it's Mr. or Miss, regardless, I'm just using the same format I used before. So I'm just kind of coming through and putting these in. And then next time what I would do is I would just do a field, and whenever, where it says dear, then, I could put the field of Mr. Miss. They won't see that part. And then that way I don't have to guess and I don't have to put either or. And there might be, 2 or 3 of them that I have to put either or on, but at least for the most part, I know, who's who. So again, I'm just going to double click that, and then that way it makes it a little bit smaller. And then the next time I do this one, I would be able to use that. But again, I didn't make any other changes, but you do want to save if you do make changes. Remember, I told you that there was only one tab. It looks like there was only one tab, but they had a printing also. And that's again, because I used a document from the internet. Alrighty, folks. Well, it's been a long time, and I know that I've been promising you this for a long time. So I hope you're having a wonderful vacation or summer break, and this helps you. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening.